Hello, you. Before we get into it, if you haven't checked out Radar on Instagram, we regularly publish new artists for you to enjoy. So when you're done here, come say hi over there. Link in the bottom of the newsletter. This week, we're enjoying a variety of obscenely long, well held notes, or in some cases, a good old yell. What makes them so good? Songs brew editorial and note worth choking for. If you're like us, and we suspect you might be, you hear a song a couple of times. And whether it is a Beyonce high note or Chester Bennington's 18-second banger, you give it a good go. Something about it has you trying your best to choke it out, failing, but still the attempt was there. An artist hits a note and just refuses to drop it long beyond where the bar might have allowed for it. The breath control is otherworldly. They push the note, hold it, pull it back. They own it. We're just along for the ride. These stunningly long notes weren't an innovation of modern pop. They have been around since the 1940s and before, with Mahalia Jackson, the American gospel singer, being one of the most influential vocalists shaping what we hear today. Aretha Franklin took it into secular music, and Whitney Houston got it from her mother, Cissy, who belted out notes in church. Every deep, rich, long note pulls from way back in the pews, note for note, or not. Almost all singers can hold a pitch, but this isn't that. A clear sustain is holding a note for a while. You can probably do it too. But an obscene sustain sits on a different level. We know music impacts how we're feeling, the speed of what we are doing, a physical, emotional, and mental reaction. Cool. With a long note, when you are tuned in, you naturally hold your own breath or push it out alongside the singer, usually without even thinking about it. Breathing rate and heart rate synchronize with what is happening around us. A rush of dopamine hits at musical peaks, one of which is a vocal crescendo. And who would we be if we weren't pointing you to where to hear the specific ones we're talking about? Aretha Franklin, I Never Loved a Man the Way I Love You. The first chorus, she finds the note on the title phrase and does not resolve it cleanly. The vibrato widens, the hold extends past where the melody expects her to be. Aretha Franklin grew up the daughter of Reverend C.L. Franklin of Detroit's New Bethel Baptist Church, and that tradition runs through every sustained note she ever recorded. This is where you hear it most clearly. Otis Redding, Try a Little Tenderness. The final section, this one does not give you a single held moment. It gives you a vocal that slowly fractures across three distinct gears. By the third section, the holds are getting rougher, less controlled, past the point where the song can contain them. He told Stax he was sure this would not be released. He sang it like a man running out of words, because he was. Adele, Someone Like You, the bridge. The held note before Never Mind. Everything strips back, just piano and voice. And then she holds the note before that word, and the bottom falls out of the song. Adele has talked about writing this song as a way of processing something she had not finished feeling. Al Green, Let's Stay Together, the bridge. The quietest version of Filthy. The falsetto arrives, everything else drops back, and the note just floats there. Al Green barely pushes, and it stays anyway. The restraint is the whole point. The filthy sustain is not always loud. D'Angelo, Untitled, How Does It Feel? Second half especially. The whole thing, honestly. Not a single held note. A sustained mood. The entire vocal breathes at his pace, not the songs. Every note he holds opens into the next one. The most advanced version of this is the hardest to explain. Voodoo is 78 minutes of it. We Will Die on This Hill. Sinead O'Connor, Nothing Compares. 2U second verse. The word bouquet. Then the silence after it. She holds it. Not for long by Whitney standards, but what follows is the thing. 14 seconds of near silence before the song continues. The sustain extends into the quiet. The note is finished, but your body is still holding it. Whitney Houston, I Will Always Love You, the final chorus. After the key change. Your lungs will tell you when you've arrived. The opening of the song already has nearly 6 seconds of melisma on a single syllable. Multiple pitches, one word, stacked and released. But the real sustain is the final chorus. Chest voice into mixed voice into head voice. One breath, no gap, no scramble, around 13 seconds. Whitney Houston learned this from her mother, Cissy, who sang gospel her whole life. The lineage is audible in every second of it. Beyonce, halo the bridge into the final chorus. Melisma into the hold, into the release, into the full arrangement underneath. 4 decisions in 3 seconds. The lineage from Mahalia Jackson to Aretha to Whitney to Beyoncé is a direct one. She knows exactly where this comes from and exactly what she is doing with it. Noah Kahan feat. Hosier, Northern Attitude, go to 3 minutes on. There is a reason TikTok gave this moment its own hashtag. It is not technically a sustained pitch, it is a sustained feeling that spills over, and it is very right in that moment. Hosier has been vocal about where his inspiration comes from, and this kinda showed it off with his yells. And we would be remiss to not mention Chester Bennington, Linkin Park, Given Up, an 18-second non-melodic hold. This shows off lung capacity and breath control to an extraordinary level. He drops octaves as it extends, but doesn't reduce the force. Stunning. Are there rules for these things? Yes and no. The fermata is the notation symbol for hold beyond the written duration. No fixed length. The performer decides, sometimes nobody decides, and the note stays until it is finished. When artists perform live, if they can hold them longer, they often do, throwing the end right out the window. Melisma is multiple pitches on one syllable. We've included a few excellent ones. The approach road to the shockingly long sustain. Gospel built it. Whitney perfected it. A generation of talent show contestants misused it for 20 years and nearly buried it, which is how you know it was powerful enough to survive. Resonant frequency. Everybody has one. A sustained note at the right pitch activates your chest cavity, your skull, and the room you are sitting in. Some notes sit in your sternum, some sit behind your eyes. Sustain at the right pitch gets a bodily response. What's really interesting, though, is that what Hosier's yell or Chester's note does for some, it won't do for others. We all prefer certain pitches and notes. The joy in all the music we consume is finding the one that hits you just right. In other news, Spotify shipped a mini Wrapped for their 20th birthday, and with it you get to see the first song you ever played. Here's one from the team, which is pretty on point for this week, because there are a couple of very gnarly sustain notes, and a cool hold and drift. Amazon Music and Bands in Town are now officially a pipeline. Concert listings from bands in town will appear directly on artist profile pages in the app, with a buy ticket button that takes you straight through. Other platforms have been doing it for a while. It's nice for Amazon to catch up. Full details here. People have rediscovered that Tidal pays artists up to 0.013 per stream, which is roughly 3 to 4 times what Spotify pays. Tidal's subscriber base is still tiny compared to Spotify's 290 million paid subscribers, so the total income math is complicated. But the per stream rate conversation keeps coming back around, and it probably shouldn't stop. CD Baby launched Stages Selects yesterday. 10 independent artists will receive priority distribution, DSP marketing, paid digital campaign support, and release planning guidance through the rest of 2026. The first artist is Morgan Nagler. CD Baby is now under the UMG umbrella following its acquisition by Virgin Music Group, which is either good news or complicated news depending on how you feel about that. More here. GNX disappeared from Apple Music, Tidal, Amazon Music, and YouTube Music on Monday. Spotify kept it the whole time. The videos for Not Like Us and Luther were briefly removed from YouTube and then re-uploaded. Everything is back now. Neither PG Lang nor Interscope has explained what happened. The full story. A judge ruled Live Nation an illegal monopoly earlier this year. Arguments about whether to actually break the whole thing up have now been pushed to early 2027. The delay is its own kind of answer. Olivia Rodrigo's Amex Ticketmaster pre-sale turned into a dynamic pricing disaster this week. Prices spiked before most fans could get through. The same conversation, again, different artist, same system. We learned nothing from Scammin' Harry or anyone else running it. P.S. If you got the Spotify roundup and know your first song, drop it in the comments. Tap Read Online at the top of this email and you'll get the web version. See you next Thursday. Growth requires letting go of the wrong work. The work that got you here won't take you further. Without support, it's easy to stay stuck doing everything long after you've outgrown it. Download Operator to Owner, how to exit the middle to learn how to refocus your time on the work that actually deserves you. Download the free guide.